everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, December 11th, 2022. I am Jabot. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Bergman as Jack Abbott. Can we get a round of applause? He was excellent this week. He was excellent in his scenes with Diane. He was excellent in his scenes with Jeremy Stark. And yes, he was excellent in his scenes with Phyllis. Diane got Jack so whipped up into a sympathy foam that he let loose on Phyllis in a way that I have never seen before. He even told her to wipe that stupid smirk off of her face. We were all just waiting for somebody to say it. I didn't expect it to be Jack. Phyllis has had that stupid smirk on her face for weeks now. She had that smirk on her face the whole time that she was denying to Jack that she was the one who told Jeremy exactly where Diane was. She even tossed her phone down onto Jack's desk, saying, "Go ahead, Jack, look through it. See any unrecognized phone numbers or text?" Just daring him, as if Phyllis would be so careless to just leave that there and not cover her tracks. Jack saw right through it. And he said, "I have sat back and watched you abuse your position here. Out of respect for Kyle and Summer, I kept quiet about it, but no more. Don't you forget that Jabot owns Marchetti, and I am Jabot." Ooh, delicious, delicious moment. My favorite moment of the week, no doubt. And the subtext, of course, is, if I find out that you had anything to do with Jeremy Stark being here, then I'm going to fire you, and I'm going to enjoy it too. Oh, the nerve of Phyllis. Just bringing Diane's past back to haunt her when you yourself, Phyllis, tormented Christine all those years ago. Oh, yes, he went there. Jack went there. Oh, so good. So good. Oh, my goodness. Watching Diane, afraid for her life, just crumpling into her little black funeral dress, has ignited a fire in Jack. It's a fire that I haven't seen in so long. I am telling you, good or bad or everything in between, Diane Jenkins is the best thing to happen to Y&R in 2022. When she sobbed in Jack's arms and said to him, "I am just so grateful to not be alone anymore." Oh, my heart melted, but I was also gagging at the same time because she is so beautiful and so raw and so seemingly vulnerable. And she didn't knowingly become involved with this dangerous criminal. She got manipulated into it. But on the other hand, she also ratted him out and took his money. So she's not exactly innocent either. Oh, the half-truths and lies of omission just keep on coming with Diane Jenkins. It's always, okay, now I've told you everything. There's nothing else. I've told you everything that I haven't told you before. Cut to a week later, and there's something else. There's always something else. She's always told you it all, but then there's something else. And this week, Diane told Jack that she knows that what Jeremy really wants from her is payback in the form of the cash that she kept when he got arrested. And sorry, that cash is gone now. She spent it all on therapy and her real estate license. Yeah, Jack said, well, at least you put the money to good use. Yeah. Yeah, Jack. Jeremy showed right up at the Abbott front door about 5 minutes before Jack got home, and I really appreciated Jack pretending like he didn't know who Jeremy was. He just put on that Abbott cordial hospitality, and then as soon as Jeremy left, Jack held Diane in his arms to comfort her. And he also offered to give her the money to pay this guy back. And she refused to take the money. Oh, no, Jack. I can't take your money, but I guess I could sleep over for a night. She did accept his offer to stay in one of the Abbott Mansion guest rooms for her own safety. You know, so that she can be safe from the big bad wolf. He has come blowing at the door. But I mean, one night at the Abbott Mansion's not going to be enough. No, because Jeremy can just follow her to work. She can't stay inside the Abbott Mansion forever. He can just follow her to work. And in fact, that's exactly what he did. He showed up in the hallway at Chabot, made himself real comfortable too. He was laying back on one of the waiting room couches, and he said, well, look, I am not going anywhere until you talk to me. So she shuffled Jeremy off into Jack's office, where he proceeded to ask her about the money, and Diane very boldly told Jeremy that she doesn't have his money, and anyway, that money was my right. It was mine to have after you manipulated me and left me with nothing. He is so ominous. I mean, he oozes bad guy. He looked like he wanted to launch her right out the window when Jack showed up in his own office. Not quite so cordial this time, no. Jack took one look at the situation and told Jeremy, look, you're not welcome in my home, and you're not welcome in my office. Is that clear enough for you, or do you need me to call security and have them highlight the point for you? Oh, I liked that. I like seeing Jack confident and knowing what he's doing. It just reminds me of the old Jack Abbott. He had all his flair back this week. And Jeremy walked out without incident, but he also, in doing that, proved to Diane and Jack that he wasn't after just money. That isn't exactly what he wanted, because Jack did say, okay, fine, dude, how much money exactly will it take to get you to leave Diane alone? And Jeremy didn't bite. He didn't just want the money. He kept directing everything back to Diane, even saying, look, I could have turned you in too, but I always kept your name out of it. Sort of implying that he was always coming for her as soon as he got out. Like he had a plan for her all along. And so the second that Jeremy left and Diane and Jack were alone, Diane devised her own plan. She realized she had to come up with something to get herself out of this. So she decided that what they should do is try to make it look like she is going to leave Genoa City and then hope that when Jeremy realizes that she's gone, then he will just quietly go away too. I'm sure that'll work. But all right, plan in motion. Diane made a big production out of saying goodbye to Jack right in front of Ashley, practically waving her little white handkerchief. Goodbye, Jack, forever. In reality, Kyle is going to be taking her up to the Abbott cabin to hide out for a couple of days. Ooh, I hope we actually get to see the Abbott cabin. It's been years since anyone's even mentioned it. So I'm wondering if we're going to actually get to see the Abbott cabin and if there's going to be some kind of confrontation there. Either a confrontation or a passionate night of lovemaking. That's the question. Well, actually, no. The question is, chatters, are you rooting for a Jack and Diane romance? At this point, are you kind of hoping that all of this leads to a hookup? That's the question of the week at yrchat.com. You should go cast your vote and tell me if you're hoping that Jack and Diane get together because of all of this, or if you're hoping that this situation ends up busting them apart. It's getting good. This is a good story. And interestingly, Phyllis happened to be there at Chabot when Jeremy showed up, and I think I could see a visible chill running down Phyllis's spine when Diane introduced them, and Jeremy implied that he knew that she was the one who informed him, and also that he had no incentive to keep quiet about it. He's got no loyalty to her. I don't know. Phyllis maybe should have been smart enough to use a voice disguising recording box or something. But no, I mean, Jeremy knew it was her and implied to her that he knew it. And there was something very menacing about it. I got the feeling that Phyllis maybe realized in that moment that she had opened up a really big Pandora's box. I mean, this guy could end up blackmailing her, too, over the whole thing, saying, I know that you're the one who told me, and I'll tell your whole family. I'll tell everyone that you're the one who called me. I mean, it would really serve Phyllis right, wouldn't it? Ooh, she unleashed the monster. She should get a little bit of backlash, and I think it's coming. I mean, and then there's Diane. As soon as Diane finished seeing Jeremy, even for the first time, she marched right over to Society, got up in Phyllis's face, and Diane ended up alerting Summer and Kyle that Jeremy was, in fact, now in town, and that he mentioned Harrison. High alert, high alert. I mean, Phyllis has got a lot to lose. Summer flipped out on her mother, of course. And Kyle decided to play tough guy. And he showed up in Jeremy's hotel room, or at the hotel room door, to say, "You leave my mommy alone." Oh, he just doesn't quite pull it off. Oh, little Kyle just doesn't quite pull it off, especially not up against somebody who is like, looks like evil incarnate or something, or I don't know. Well, but we didn't even get to see that whole interaction. I'm just kind of imagining how it all went down. I wonder why Y&R didn't choose to show that. They just gave us the cliffhanger of Kyle being at the door, and maybe that's better. Maybe that was more satisfying than what the scene would have actually been. Because also, it was really great to see Kyle. I think maybe it was more effective to see Kyle confronting and retelling the story to Jack and Ashley, and especially Kyle tearing into Ashley. I mean, putting the smackdown on her like I have never seen. Telling her that if he finds out that she or Nikki or Phyllis had anything to do with bringing Jeremy Stark to town, then he is going to be holding her personally responsible. Especially if any kind of harm comes to anyone that he loves, aka Harrison. I mean, Ashley looked so sick with shame in those scenes. Ugh. Well, I mean, Jeremy has everyone rattled. His presence in town has officially rattled everyone. Nikki, too. Victor's on high alert now with the security guards. Victor is handing out security guards like he's Oprah Winfrey, handing out cars. You get a security guard, and you get a security guard, and everyone gets a security guard. I'm sure all of this is just going to end up letting Jeremy know exactly how much he has succeeded in rattling everyone. I'm sure that will please him greatly. And Tucker, too. Tucker knows Jeremy is in town. Hell, I think Tucker brought Jeremy to town. And when he met with Ashley this week, he advised her to stay away from Jeremy. I mean, he's even trying to up the ante of how dangerous this guy is. You stay away from Jeremy, Ashley. You just go ahead and take all of that anger and hatred that you have toward Diane and redirect it toward me so that we can have fiery hate sex later. Oh, but then where would that leave Audra? Yeah, Tucker and Audra had sex this week. Okay. I did not see that coming. Audra planted a big old steamy kiss on Noah, and then he rejected her, so she ran over to Tucker's hotel room and gave him the leftovers. And he was happy to lap them up. Num, 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 num. What a guy, that Tucker McCall. A real Romeo. I am sure that he would never cheat on Ashley again. His feelings for her are true. I don't know. I think it's a good, solid prediction that Tucker and Jeremy are in this together, that the threat is completely being manufactured by Tucker to weaken Jabot and then bonus drive Ashley into his arms. Next week in the previews, Tucker was telling Ashley that she should quit her family business and then he can help her build her own empire. What? No, wait. Ashley already did that. I mean, where you been, Tucker? Isn't that what My Beauty was all about? In fact, I was thinking a couple of weeks ago, why is Ashley even in the lab? She doesn't work at Jabot anymore. She took their patents and started a new company, My Beauty. But then I guess somewhere along the way, I mean, I imagine she was always on the board of directors or whatever, but I guess somewhere along the way, she quietly got rehired. I don't know. But in any case, I don't see what Ashley would need Tucker for. She already has a side business. She already has plenty of money. And she's a total fool to fall for him. Here's what I would like to see happen. Since I still think that the idea of Jeremy Stark is more dangerous than the man himself, and since I think that Jeremy and Tucker are working together, I want to see Jeremy turn on Tucker and steal Ashley away from him right out from under his weaselly little nose. Oh boy, Jill still wants to take Chancellor Winters public? She thinks that since Nate is gone, the threat is gone, but boy, is she wrong. Has she met Tucker McCall? She should know better than anyone that he's just lying in wait, literally lying on the floor, on a fuzzy rug, waiting and lying all the time. And Devon is softening on him too. Time with Grandpa Tucker has really made Devon let his guard down. This week, they were talking a little bit about business, and Devon didn't give any details about what's going on with the company, but he's definitely more willing to open up than he was when his dad first showed up in town. When is Tucker going to put the takeover plan into action? When's he going to do something? When are we going to find out that he's doing something? We found out this week that he was doing someone. But I also need him to do something. Abby seems to be having a hard time adjusting to the fact that Tucker is back in their lives. She wasn't real happy about finding Grandpa Tucker there with Devon and Dom. But I'm sure that Devon will be able to smooth all of that over in time. Tucker will soon become Abby's father-in-law, I guess. Abby told Devon this week that she and Chance are getting a divorce, and at the same time, Chance told Sharon the same thing. Man, Chance was one cold dude on Friday. Man. He came back to pick up his stuff from his family house, and Abby tried one more time to apologize to him and maybe to try to save the relationship, because she said, I still love you, and I know that deep down you still love me. But Chance just looked at her dead-eyed and said, no, I am disconnected from those feelings now. I think our relationship was always going to fail. I think we were doomed from the start. Dang! No cherry coating there. And like Abby said, well, okay, that attitude just completely devalues the feelings that they had for one another at one time, the entire love story, the family that they share together, that, well, she kind of started without him knowing it because he disappeared on a year-long secret agent mission and only left a note. Wait a minute, I'm coming around. Oh boy, it's just over really clean, really fast. I guess, does that mean that the writing is on the wall? Abby and Devon are just going to hook up again, ride off into the sunset, and then Sharon and Chance? No. Sharon and Chance? That does not excite me. I don't know. I kind of just want to hope that Sharon is being the same Sharon to Chance that she is to everyone else. She's everyone's unofficial therapist. She's just listening to him talk, being a sounding board, and letting his character, like all the characters, have some exposition. I am ready to see more Sharon, though. I have to say that's probably my biggest complaint about the show right now. There's just not enough Sharon. She's had no story of her own since Ray died. I think it's time for her to come out of mourning, don't you? Maybe with Adam. What do you think about that? Is now the time for Sharon and Adam? I mean, they now have a Chance friendship in common. After Chance talked with Sharon, he also went and kind of resurrected his friendship with Adam. Those two bros were commiserating at the hottest nightclub in town together. Ooh, just where I want to be when I am trying to drown my sorrows. A loud, glittery disco dance club. Big news! This week, Daniel was wearing a red velvet jacket to match the red velvet cupcake that he ate with Lily. That is a stroke of genius right there. Billy wore a red velvet jacket a couple of times, But I think that Daniel wore it better. And I just can't stop thinking about how much I want to dump Billy and date Daniel. I mean, did you see the way that he went to town on that cupcake? Oh, I think that says a lot about him. He is willing to get in there and get messy and get the job done. Well, I am talking about the cupcake. I don't know what you were thinking. Daniel. He's getting a little too comfortable, though, sharing his opinions about Billy and Lily's relationship. And this week he shared it with Lily directly to her, right into her face, telling her what he thought about her relationship with Billy. That's pretty bold. It's like he maybe knows that there's a sore spot there. I mean, you'd probably have to be blind not to see it, but it's like he doesn't seem to mind poking at it to find out exactly how sore it is. So while Daniel was out on a date with Lily, having a lovely dinner with Lily, dodging questions about his own relationship, by the way, while offering opinions on her relationship, Billy and Chelsea were together in Chelsea's apartment having a popcorn and movie night, which Billy recounted to Lily later by saying, "Oh, I brought Chelsea some food," like it was chicken soup to warm her soul. But it was popcorn and a movie, okay? Popcorn's not food. Taking popcorn in a movie is not bringing someone food. But when it was all done, you know, they had the laughs and, you know, it was the cuteness and whatever. And Chelsea definitely ate her popcorn a little more civilly this time. I remember when they were doing the podcast and she was like, "Rang, rang, rang, rang," with the popcorn all over the place. This time she ate it more like a lady. They had some fun. They had some laughs. And when it was all done, Billy admitted to Chelsea that with her is where he wanted to be tonight. That with her is where he felt he needed to be tonight. I mean, these two have got a bond. I mean, there's the Johnny thing, yes, but currently, and I think we're going to address that next week from the previews, right? They're going to talk about Myanmar. But the bond that they share is also very current. They're tied together right now and forever through a trauma, and so they're working through it together. I think that's natural. I totally get that. I just wouldn't want to be in Lily's position because that bond has the potential to put their relationship in jeopardy. Billy did ask Chelsea why it seemed like she was dodging him, and she admitted that it was partly because of the conversation that she had with Lily, and that Lily had reminded her that, well, you know, Billy can't be there for you 24/7, which is true. But Billy didn't like hearing that, and when he confronted Lily about it, she just kind of rolled her eyes and said, "Look, I'm sorry Chelsea took it that way, but I'm going to finish my evening with Daniel." I loved what she said. I'm going to finish my evening. She said she's going to finish her evening with Daniel. Well, which is AKA her date with Daniel, and then she's finishing her date with Daniel and then going to go back to work. So Billy, don't bother waiting up. The fact that Billy and Lily pretty much looked like they were on separate dates with two other people this week made me remember that these two are not married. I mean, they are committed to one another, but that could change at any time. Billy, it must have been very hard, but he literally had to walk away and leave her on a date with her ex-husband and then go drown his sorrows at the hottest nightclub in town. And Adam was doing the same. Yeah, Adam correctly guessed that Billy and Lily were on the outs because it's become the Billy and Chelsea show now. I really liked that description of it. Adam and Billy kind of bickered over Chelsea, like, who deserves to be there for her more? Well, Billy sees Adam as being incapable of being there for Chelsea because, you know, he's subhuman. And then Billy also even told Noah something like, better keep an eye on Adam. I think he's returning to his dark prince ways. Okay, but I kind of also really liked it when Adam told Billy, hey, if you're looking for someone to insult or to judge, why don't you just grab a mirror? And then he strolled out of the place. Yeah, I liked that a lot. Don't anybody be throwing stones in the glass glam club, okay? You're likely to break something expensive. Adam and Sally. I mean, they have all of the ingredients to cook up one hell of a powerhouse romance. They have got passion. They have got chemistry. They have got personality individually and together. And yet, here we are. It's over. Or so they say. For now. I am trying so hard to understand what exactly happened here. Adam and Sally slept together, but I guess they both simultaneously came to the mutual conclusion that it wasn't the same. It wasn't good anymore. Something had changed. So they should just label this as a goodbye screw? I don't get it. If there was nothing left between them, they wouldn't have slept together in the first place. Sally said the connection was different today. Oh, well, yeah. You know, I mean, wouldn't that be the point? Don't you want the connection to change after everything y'all been through? Don't you want the relationship to evolve so that you could move forward from there? Shouldn't that be what you want? Change? And shouldn't Adam have been angry? She slept with him and then broke up with him in bed. How is that fair to him? After all of these months, Adam finally gets the intimacy that he has been craving, that he has been begging for, and then he just accepts that it's all over now as soon as he gets it? I would be furious if I had worked so hard, begging and pleading to get someone back. They invite me up to their hotel room, we do it, and then they tell me, now it's over. Well, you could have told me that over the phone. Thanks a whole freaking lot. But no, Adam just sat there like a wet puppy who just lost his first girlfriend. I mean, this is like a 40-year-old man. He has had 2 marriages and a child that is old enough to know what it means to unalive yourself. He should be in a relationship that is more mature than this. And Nick, too. Nick, too. Sally has been telling Nick for weeks that she really likes what they have together and how happy he makes her. Well, I think that Nick deserves a whole heck of a lot better than walking up into her hotel room, passing Adam in the hallway, opening up the door, seeing Sally standing there in her robe, standing next to her and Adam's sex bed. She told Nick, "Sorry about that. I didn't mean for you to find out this way. I was going to tell you that even though I've given you all these signs that we're going to be together and I want to be with you and I've totally been leading you on, but I just slept with your brother. I was going to tell you I just slept with your brother. I didn't want you to find out this way, though. Adam and I just needed to know if there was anything left between us. That's all. It was closure sex. But I'm good now. I'm good now. The closure sex made me feel like I could move on completely. I mean, she literally told Nick, she literally said to Nick, I have a new sense of freedom now. I feel like I can date you now without worrying what Adam thinks about it. And Nick was like, oh, yeah. That makes sense. Cool, 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 cool. Whatever, Sally. Whatever, girl. You lost me. I do not know what you want. I do not know who you are. I am totally over this triangle. Yet, of all the times in the past years where we've seen a woman sleep with two men and we've speculated that she'll end up turning up pregnant, but then absolutely nothing happens. Just watch. Just watch. This is going to be the one to come true. We're going to be ringing in the new year, folks, with a fresh new Who's the Baby Daddy storyline. Ooh! Burnout is a real thing. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Burnout is a real thing, but I'm not the one that said it. Sharon is the one who said it last week. She was telling Billy, look, you got to take a break every once in a while. Take care of yourself. Burnout is a real thing. It is, too. This week's winners are Henry, Daisy, Ron, Victoria, Tanya, Erica, good old Marky, and Sue W. You guys got that quote right. But I really think this is going to be a hard one because absolutely anybody could have said it, but only one person did. Love is chaos. Oh, isn't it? Love is chaos. Who said it? If you think you know, go to yrchat.com. You can leave your guess there. And if you get it right, then I will give you your congrats on next week's Y&R Chat. All right, it's your turn to have the floor. Starting with Sue W., who says, well, Sally seemed pretty decisive about never getting back together with Adam. Sealed with a hot goodbye sex, of course. Sally acted as though their grand love story had been torn apart by forces beyond either one's control. I don't quite get the melodrama. If he hurt her so badly, then he literally is not the man of her dreams. Yet, she talked and loved on him like he is, but she's done with him. So he's not, but he is. Ay. Perhaps Sally should keep her legs together for a while so her head and heart can reconcile their feelings outside of both the Nick and Adam lust factors. And quickly, as a soapy Sally pregnancy seems inevitable after this final goodbye. But on a side note, Sally sure has got some great waterproof and sex-proof makeup. Nary a tear stain or a smudge in sight. Yes. You know, Sally sure did seem decisive, and yet she seemed decisive all the times that she said she was done with Adam. Over and over. And then this. Yeah, you know, I like your point about the melodrama. It's just not there. That's the problem with this story. It's like if it was forces of tearing them apart, there were outside forces, it would be one thing. But it's just the stakes haven't quite been there or something. I don't know what it is. I just don't know what it is that I can't put my finger on. But because there have been a lot of great triangles, even triangles including brothers, where it's like, oh, this is actually good. I feel this. I mean, this is here. But it's like, I just think the timing of the whole thing was just off. Adam and Sally's relationship was so right on, and then he just made this weird move to break it off, and they spent way too much time getting to the Nick part. And then when she finally was with Nick, it's like it was only a couple weeks before they got the triangle there, and Nick always felt like a backup to me. Nick doesn't feel like the man of Sally's dreams. Nick just feels like second choice, like runner-up prize. And so I don't feel, I mean, Nick and Sally may be hot in their sex scenes. The sex scenes are hot, but I don't feel like they're meant to be together. So there's no question that I feel like she is better suited with Adam, and yet he didn't broke up with her, and then she broke up with him. It's just, am I missing it maybe because I'm getting older now? Maybe it is that. Maybe this is a triangle that is just not for me. Maybe a younger version of me would have really picked up on it, because I think Sally's a great heroine. I mean, she's so beautiful and so driven and just so unique, both visually and with her personality. There's nobody like her on the show. She's great. And so I could see a younger viewer really getting into her mindset and being with her. And is it just because I'm getting older that I'm having a hard time connecting with that internal struggle? Am I so settled that maybe I can't remember what it's like to just sort of feel that angst that's just there, just sort of always bubbling beneath the surface? Is that what it is? I don't know. Tina says it broke my heart. Yes, it was a wasted opportunity for sure. Sally had her chance to marry the love of her life, but decided to stay with judgmental Nick instead. He will never put up with her long term and will crack under the pressure of his family. He couldn't even save her job. I know. It's just the Sally and Nick, they're fine, but yeah, why did she choose Nick? I don't get that. I mean, we all have been saying for so long he's kind of the safe choice, and then here Tina's saying, yeah, but he couldn't even save her job. Victoria says, I'll be surprised if Nick stays with Sally after seeing Adam leave and the expression on Sally's face. The sheets would be enough for me. Victoria, this makes no sense from Nick's perspective either. And this also really ticks me off, because it's like, why? Why would Nick walk in on that and then entertain anything that Sally had to say, let alone go on to date her and to defend her to Summer? Like, this was a huge betrayal. Sally hugely betrayed both Adam and Nick, and yet they're somehow both like, okay, Sally, oh, she's the girl, she's the one, oh, fond memories. Like, no! They should both be furious with her. Why is she getting away with it? Henry says, it would be so easy to label Sally. And I'll be nice as that proverbial garden utensil, if you get my drift. It'd be easy to label Sally as that proverbial garden utensil, if you get my drift. I hope the writers minimize her bed hopping. I'd prefer to see her become a successful businesswoman that she's capable of resurrecting. Yeah, and that's the thing I don't want to do. I mean, I definitely don't, want to label Sally or whatever. I mean, everybody sleeps around on this show. It's not that really bothers me. It's the fact that everybody just sort of accepted that she did sort of screw him over. I mean, sex or no sex, whatever. She kind of is screwing them both over, and nobody's mentioning it. And as you said, I feel more invested in Sally as a businesswoman than Sally and who she's dating right now. I wish that Y&R would cast her aunt or her sister or something. Sally needs someone to have exposition with who's not Chloe. The Chloe friendship is only going to work as long as, Chloe gets to yap about Adam. And that's not the That's not what I'm looking for. I want Sally to have someone to talk to so that I can do a better job of getting inside her head and understanding where she's coming from and not just seeing her as this waffler. She's certainly become a waffler. So I wish they would cast someone to anchor Sally, someone who could actually give her a heart, or who she can bounce that heart back and forth off of, and it's not a contentious thing like she and Chloe. I wish they would pull the plug on the Nick and Sally and Adam triangle. I think if we have to do a rivalry triangle, I think it would have been much more entertaining to see Billy and Adam fight over Lily. And I think that Sally would have really been a perfect pairing with Daniel. I mean, they're both so cool and young and hip and sexy, and I just think they would be super, super hot together. It just feels like this triangle was just sort of tossed together. Why didn't they just leave Adam and Sally alone? I just don't understand it. I'm sure I'm not ever going to understand it. Nick was meant to be reuniting with Sharon this year. That's what it really boils down to for me. Gary says, although it looks like Nick Newman divides his mornings between the bake shop at Crimson or the heartburn of society, doesn't he have a kitchen in that big house of his to make and share breakfast with his much talked about but never seen son Christian? Everyone's in their winter finery and out for breakfast before the sun comes up or the Christmas tree lights twinkle and go out at society. But being an upscale restaurant, they probably sparkle 24/7. No complaints, bright lights, big city, and getting a jump on the day. Yeah, I did love that little moment of like, well, sometimes Nick likes to eat at Crimson in the morning. Sometimes he likes to eat at Society. But doesn't he have a kitchen? Doesn't he share his breakfast with his young son who we never see? Good points. Here's some random thoughts from Ellen, who says, Adam told Billy off, and I loved it. Jack told Phyllis off, and I loved it. Kyle told Ashley off, and I loved it. Summer says, I'm not that person anymore. Everybody drink. Victoria says Sally Spectra, like there are a lot of Sallys in town. Sally cleared the air with Lauren, and I demand to see Mrs. Martinez, not just hear her name every week. Yeah, Mrs. Martinez, I feel like we saw her one time. I can kind of vaguely remember someone in my mind. But it's been quite a long time since we actually have seen her. And also, the way Victoria says Sally Spectra, or everybody sort of labels her Sally Spectra, it's the same with Tucker McCall. He's never Tucker. He's always Tucker McCall. Sally's never Sally. She's always Sally Spectra. That's funny. It's like if you're on the outs in this town, you have to go first name, last name. Well, Victoria says, I had a smile on my face the whole time Lauren and Michael were chatting about Sally and Nick. It was so wonderful to have them on my screen. It's a breath of fresh air. You know, I kind of wonder if the whole scene with Lauren and Michael was a little bit about like trying to soften Sally up a little bit, or showing someone forgiving Sally, although everybody's sort of forgiving Sally. But yeah, it was a smile scene, but not because of Sally in my mind, but just more because Lauren and Michael have still got the magic after all these years. I love them together. Christian LeBlanc was looking clean shaven, and his hair was a little bit more a little tighter. Still had some length in it, but he looked like he got a trim. And Lauren was so cute there with her coffee cup, like looking over at Sally and Nick, just sort of gossip in a gossipy way, just sort of wondering what's going on there. And I love her with her pink glasses. She never puts them on. She always has those pink glasses, and she never puts them on. I always wonder though, are they sunglasses? Or are they like reading glasses? I was really honed in on them, and they did almost look like they had a magnifying effect on them. Maybe they're prescription sunglasses. I don't know. But the fact that they're pink lenses with pink frames is so 80s. I remember having a pair of pink lens, pink frame sunglasses in the 80s, and Lauren is very 80s. So and she's got the reddish hair, and so it just all is so perfect. I do love them together, and it was wonderful to see them. New topic. Naomi says, well, I guess Nate isn't that person anymore because he has said sorry. But he only changed course because Elena was going to step in and reveal his treachery. Yet, he says to Lily, he wasn't to blame, really, because of Devon's part of the problem. Well, here's a hint, Nate. If people treat you unfairly, you resign and find employment elsewhere. I'm tired of Nate shifting blame for his family members being angry. His huge ego got in his way. He's also getting his ego fed by Amani and probably would have betrayed Elena with her had the show kept them on. So good luck, Victoria. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Nate totes would have slept with Imani if the show would have kept her on. But now we're swapping out, and Victoria is in that cheating spot. Well, but Astra on the other end says, well, really, Devon, you and Nate have made mistakes that hurt people. Please don't minimize yours just because it wasn't planned. You knew it was wrong and you still went through it anyway. This is why I never cared for Devon. He makes mistakes and expects immediate forgiveness, but is too bullheaded to forgive others so quickly. The only reason he's not groveling to Amanda right now, expecting a third chance, is because the actress is leaving the show. Otherwise, we'd be seeing him begging at Amanda's feet right now. Yeah, Astra, that is totally true. And happy birthday, Astra! Your birthday is today. How wonderful that I actually get to wish you a happy birthday on your birthday, and that you left me several good comments this week, so that's a nice little treat for me too. And yes, you guys are honing in on the scene where Lily was really taking in Nate and trying to decide what side she kind of falls on, and or maybe in a larger sense just how she's going to repair the family. Henry says Lily really was great at reminding Devon of his betrayal to Amanda as they discussed forgiveness related to Nate's betrayal of the family. I feel like that conversation will be the catalyst to Devon eventually forgiving Nate. Once Nate discovers Devon's affair with Abby, I think he'll be like, "Are you kidding me, dude?" Rhetorically speaking, of course. Yes, of course, we're all looking forward to that, and it looks like it might be happening next week, because Nate was definitely asking, what happened to Amanda? And then he's over in the background kind of watching the situation, seeing Devon over there with Abby, like, what's going on with Devon? Might he have done something wrong in his life, too? So that's something to look forward to, I guess, for next week. I do sort of hope, though, that the Devon-Nate rivalry continues, because it's been a pretty good one. Oh, but let's swap over to Diane. T. Nicole says, Diane, oh no, going to an isolated cabin is not a smart move when Jeremy will eventually show up and there's no one around to help. At least at the Abbott house or Jabot, there's other employees or Abbotts who live in the house to help if need be. Yeah, it's like, no, it's like when you're watching a horror movie. No, Diane, don't go into that darkened basement when there's a serial killer in the house. Don't go up to the Abbott cabin when there's a dangerous dude on the loose. But also, Tucker saw Diane getting ready to leave. I think he's going to tell Jeremy where Diane is. I think he's going to find out, tell Jeremy where Diane is, and send him up there to the cabin to scare her while he waits around to play the hero to Ashley. T. Nicole also says, I felt for Diane when she was desperate to not be left alone with Jeremy, that so much so that she tried to make up a reason to keep talking to Phyllis and not have her walk away. I could feel her fear. Yeah, in that moment, Diane preferred the company of Phyllis to being around Jeremy Stark, and she was almost desperate, like, please don't leave me. And Phyllis was like, nope. This is exactly what I wanted. Bye. You're on your own. Bye. Oh, here's a good idea from Tina, who says, what if Jeremy, Tucker, and Diane are running a scam to get money out of Jack and take Jabot and Chancellor Winters? Ooh, yeah, I can feel that the Diane mistrust is building this week. There are a lot of people thinking that maybe she is in on a scam. And how about this doozy from Daisy, who says, so Diane's resolve to get away from Jeremy Stark is to leave a well-lit hotel and or the Abbott home, both with security, and go alone to a cabin in the woods. I think she may be planning to kill Stark. That's why she chose the cabin. Diane will take a gun. She'll believe that Stark will show up at the cabin and she'll, no questions asked, pull the trigger. But it's not Stark. It's a worried Jack checking up on her. Daisy, that would blow my mind. Can you even, let's just imagine that little twist. That, because it's probably, who knows, if Y&R probably not even creative enough to come up with that. So let's just enjoy that doozy in our minds. Diane brings a gun with her to the cabin. She gets all freaked out, fires at the door because someone's coming through, and it's Jack. Oh, that's so good. How about this from an anti-Diane voice from Dolores, who says, "Oh, Jack, you've been fooled, deceived, and manipulated into the Venus flytrap, Diane. And you love every minute of these times." Clutching her pearls again, running, not in his office, but home to say with a breathless statement how in danger she is and her family, proclaiming that Phyllis, Ashley, and Nikki brought this to Genoa City and upon her. But really, I think Diane brought all of this to the Abbott household. She started her game of deception in L.A., buying Chemo's house, befriending Allie, sending cryptic text messages to Jack, and coming back to Genoa City to reclaim her family. I'm sure she knew that Jeremy Stark was getting out of prison soon, possibly notified by the court of this action. So she had to do something quickly to get into a safe place in the arms of Jack under the guise of wanting to mend her relationship with Kyle, her son. Then with the return of Jeremy Stark and, of course, Tucker breathing down her neck, she knew she'd spent the money that she shouldn't have done that. Money she shouldn't have done. Money that she enjoyed until it ran out and should have been turned over to the feds. But the walls are closing in. Diane knew that Jeremy Stark would find her no matter where she would go. No matter where she would go, so self-preservation was her primary aim, as always. I don't think that the three amigos striving to get rid of Genoa City of Diane were so wrong. Jack fell out with Phyllis when she tried to warn him of her untrustworthy behavior. So did Ashley. But now he is blinded with love. And yes, even though his mind may tell him to beware, his heart/sexual needs say, "I'm all in and committed to you, Diane. Look out to Genoa City. The worst and or best is yet to come." Man, I could have done a better job of reading that, Dolores, but that was really, really good. And you make a good point that, let's not forget, Diane was in L.A. buying Chemo's house, sending the cryptic text messages to try to get back into Jack's life. I mean, I think you make a good, solid argument that this is all could be part of Diane's plan. I wonder if we're going to see that twist in her character, or if they're going to continue to, or if they're going to let her be the damsel in distress, clutching her pearls. I guess we'll see. And I can't wait to see the poll results for this week, too, if you're rooting for that relationship to work out. Gary says, "I have never seen Ashley bow to anyone as she was forced to do with Kyle yesterday. Gone was the arrogance." Oh, that was such a good scene. He did a great job letting her have it, and she really took it. Ellen says, "Ashley can make dumb, incredulous faces at Jack all she wants. What exactly qualifies her to tell 60-something-year-old brother who to care about? Her successful relationships with Victor, Tucker, Cole, Brad, she's a disaster when it comes to relationships. She can be a concerned sister, but show some respect. Resign from the coven, Ashley." That's what Tucker told her to do. Oh, and Diana mentioned you forgot about Stephen Lassiter. Yeah. Ashley's had a great history of good judgment when it comes to guys. She's really qualified to talk to Jack about his new girlfriend. Well, Ryan says, "I've been watching/listening to Y&R Chat for at least a year, maybe 2, but I never commented on the website before now. After rewatching Jack's warning to Phyllis at least 20 times, I felt I needed to share how much I love that scene. I laughed so hard every time I rewatched it. I am Jabot. I will throw you and that stupid smirk out of this building so fast your head will spin." I love that scene was so powerful, Ryan, that you were like, I gotta comment. That's like the exact way I feel about Y&R Chat. Sometimes there's just those scenes that are, you have to talk to somebody about it. And that's what I'm here for. So thank you for joining in. Good to hear from you, Ryan. And Gary says, Peter Bergman finally let Phyllis have it. It is rare for dialogue to be written that includes such harsh backstory as Jack raging how Phyllis had tortured Christine, etc. Jack is a kind, sappy man of strength and finally pulling his power trump card, saying Marchetti is a subsidiary of Jabot. I am Jabot, and if I learn that you brought Jeremy Stark to my front door, I will toss you and your stupid smirk out into the street. So do it, says Gary. Yeah, I mean, the stupid smirk, too. It was so like, whoa! It was definitely, even just the dialogue, the words being chosen there were enough to just really, it's very chat-worthy. And, P.S., so Jack mentioned Phyllis's past this week. Nick also mentioned Phyllis's past to Summer when he was talking about second chances and all the crazy things that Phyllis used to do. Well, Sue W. says, I'd like to see a Phyllis and Tucker hookup. I think Ashley's too good and probably always was for Tucker. Sorry, Ashley Bashers. I would imagine Phyllis and Tucker to have equal parts snark and condescension for the other while nonetheless tearing each other's clothes off. Or maybe Jeremy Stark for Phyllis, but it's too soon yet to see how Jeremy will ultimately figure into Genoa City. Yeah, and is he long-term? Are we keeping Jeremy? Are we going to have him long enough to hook him up? Maybe that's all still remaining to be seen, but I do like your idea of Phyllis and Tucker. Maybe they would be a little bit better of a match, although I don't know. I mean, I did warm up to Tucker just a touch in that final scene with Ashley this week. It's just that I don't like him and I don't trust him, and when it came time to vote in this week's poll for Tucker's approval rating, I voted disapprove. I don't know what it is. It's just something in his face makes me want to smack it. Although I will say, he does know how to take a smack. I will give him that. He ran into Diane on her way to the cabin, and he pretended to be concerned about her. He said something like, well, can I offer you some money to help you out? She just leaned in and smacked him, and he goes, good one, and then just kept on as if nothing happened. Like, absolutely nothing rattles him, and I do appreciate that. So I can see why 63% of you voted approval for Tucker McCall. 38% like me, like crossing their arms and being like, no, I didn't like him. Kamna says, I totally approve of the actor. I love his elegant effortlessness and smooth but intentional style, and I love how he can go from charming to ruthless. As for the character, I hear what you're saying, Allie, and I guess I'll say that I approve of Tucker in the same way that I approved of Victor back in the day. You know, they're mostly bad, but that's what makes them so good. And while we'll never have another Victor Newman, Tucker may be a great love-to-hate villain for Genoa City. Yeah, you know, I almost wish, you're making a great point about Victor. Victor is a villain, right? He is, but we love him, and he's also a romantic lead. I think that the fact that Y&R has made this Tucker a villain first while trying to work in the romantic angle is a little bit makes it a little bit more muddy for me. I almost wish I could have seen him be full villain and then work him into the Ashley or whatever romantic storyline with whoever. It's maybe a little bit too much all at once. Or I wish we could have seen him just being, his love of Ashley and then see him turn as a villain. I like the turn. We don't have that turn with Tucker's character. Maybe that's why it's not hitting me right. It's just everything all at once and yet nothing all at the same time. Tony says we need a character who will think of himself first, taking advantage of anyone and everyone, plotting and planning and scheming and sneering and, well, ruthless. This actor and the character of Tucker is just right for the part, so I vote yes. But who could be his lady? Ashley? Nah, she's too bitter. Phyllis? No, she needs to work back to Nick. Victoria, I could see that. He likes kids. She has a little bad. She likes a little badness. He likes kids. She likes a little badness. But Tucker McCall, thumbs up. Tucker and Victoria. There's one we haven't talked about. I'm stuck on her and Nate, or maybe even her and Jeremy. But as Sue says, we don't know how exactly Jeremy's going to factor in yet, and if he's going to be sticking around. Well, Joan says, I love this guy as the actor, Trevor St. John, and as the character, Tucker McCall. He gives the perfect nuance, edge of a sweet and nasty narcissist. Every time he's on screen, I'm never sure what side of him we'll see. Now, mind you, I never want Trevor to occupy my own space, but as an actor, he's absolutely entertaining. Yeah, you guys, you're probably right. Astra voted approve because I don't mind St. John in the role, but now that we see Jeremy, I honestly think this guy would have a better fit as Tucker and St. John as Jeremy. Either way, I'm cool with the outcome and look forward to the storyline now that it's finally ramping up. Yeah, Astra, that's it. That is it. It's almost like I wish Jeremy was Tucker and Tucker was Jeremy. Oof, that's so good. Southside Granny says, I don't care for Tucker. He reminds me of a mole I worked with at some point in time. I'm really thinking the writers could bring out the spirit the other or the last Tucker McCall brought out. Or is it just the actor? You know, he almost does seem like someone that we've known in their past that we don't like. Maybe that's where I'm coming from, too. There's just something about him. I didn't like him decades ago, and I don't like him now. Well, Henry says, about a week ago, I felt like there was no romantic chemistry between Tucker and Audra that I could detect. Wrong! Now I'm so confused. What is Tucker's plan for trying to pursue Ashley? Obviously, he's not serious. Audra appears to be running a huge scam where Noah's concerned, and now I feel she never lost their baby. I can only surmise that Tucker plans to take over Chabot with Audra by his side. But how deep does his relationship with Audra go? I mean, do you think so? You think Tucker and Audra are together? Okay, well, I guess I didn't read it that way. I just felt like it was a fling, like a quickie. But maybe that would be a pretty good twist if it was all a lie and Tucker and Audra are together solidly and they're wreaking their havoc on Genoa City. Although, I don't know, did she move to recurring status? Diana liked the Audra-Tucker hookup scene, saying, I can't lie, I kind of loved it. It was totally unexpected, naughty, and hot, which made it all the more interesting to me. Much more interesting than Noah and Allie, sorry to say. They are a cute couple, but that's maybe what makes couples a little dull sometimes. I look forward to seeing the continuation of this rendezvous. Yeah, I didn't clock it as being an ongoing rendezvous, but you do make a good point that it probably was more interesting than the Allie and Noah. They're sweet and nice and everything, but like there was a plot there. Well, Sherrod says, I said it before, I believe that Audra's baby's still alive and Tucker knows it. Apparently, whenever they get back on screen, somehow Tessa and Mariah will be put in the position of adopting Audra and Noah's child. This is when the truth will come out. As I said before, the child will be a Newman, all kinds of drama coming into play. Oh, so you think Audra's baby's alive? Mariah and Tessa will adopt the child, not knowing any of this, and then it'll turn out to be Noah's? Ooh. But I thought you said that Noah and Allie were going on recurring status, so how would that work out? Or, I mean, recurring, you still have a story, but yeah, ooh, okay. All right, I like that twist. I like twists. Daisy says, Diane should have called security to escort Stark out of the house and out of Chabot. She could also have told him that the feds had confiscated his money, but Diane didn't do any of that. Maybe Diane knew Phyllis was contacting Stark and set the stage to make it easy for him to confront her? And for her to look like the victim? Then Jack would be drawn more in to rescue her, which is what's happening. A few weeks ago, Diane had confronted Phyllis, Nikki, and Ashley about their plan to get rid of her and swore that she could do more to them than they could imagine. Something like that. Maybe this is it, and Diane's counter plan is working in that her three nemesis are being blamed and vilified, and Jack is rescuing her all over the place. However, Victor's investigation might come up with the truth and Stark is working for Tucker. That'd be a great twist, though. Victor discovers Tucker's plan and everyone he has involved, and then what would Victor do? And to whom? You know, that's a good dang point, that everything is kind of working out in Diane's favor. And she did make that bold proclamation that she could outmaneuver those three girls combined. So, I'm letting that seed sink in that maybe Diane is up to something. T. Nicole says, I know, it's plot-driven. But honestly, the Abbotts and the Newmans must have the worst security team these billionaires can hire. First, Ashlyn Locke gets into Victoria's house and Victor's team doesn't barge in to protect Victoria, but yet they'll have enough time to drive him into the lake. Now, Jeremy can just waltz into the Jabot building. No, you need a fob or something to scan to get into the building. I think it's comedic at this point, because it's mentioned over and over by Victor and Jack, and they have security following the family to make sure they're safe. When has their security teams ever stopped the villains from keeping away from our main characters? I can just picture a security person watching from a distance and going, oh, look, there goes Jeremy into the Jabot building. Shrug, and then just takes a bite out of his donut. Okay, everybody. I hope that you had a really good week watching Y&R. We had some great moments. And I hope that you come back next week to chat with me again about it. Oh, go to yrchat.com if you want to leave some comments, and we'll read them next week and see where we are in the whole scape of Genoa City. I love you guys. I will see you next Sunday. Bye.